Jenny, thank you very much indeed for joining us on the NAPE YouTube site. I'm delighted you could join us because you're going to tell us all about Tales from Mother Earth, as I've got on the screen behind me there. So welcome, and could you perhaps say, to start off with, what's this idea you had about starting this particular idea off?
Thank you, Mike, for the invitation. It's lovely to be here. It really is. Yes, Tales from Mother Earth. My goodness. Well, we started about 6 years ago now. And back in 2019, or no, 7 years ago now, no, near enough, a few things came together. Um, the Garden of Eden was no more, was a statement that David Attenborough said back in
Oh
2019 that hit
yeah,
me quite hard. There was a big report that came out about the pollinators being in serious decline and what that means to our environment and our existence in lots of ways. Um, Also, I was a young mum at the time, and I had two young children, and I was looking at them and thinking about climate anxiety that a lot of children were facing and are facing. And I
yeah.
wanted to do something to alleviate and help my children, and obviously help other children where I could as well. Um, and talking to Professor Michael Rees, he was telling me that fewer and fewer children now have a connection with nature, and that's to our detriment. And I just thought, what can I do? I thought this is crazy. And then also on the news and the media, I don't know if you can recall, but 2019, it seemed like the whole world was on fire. Australia was burning, America was burning, Europe
Oh,
was
yes, that's
burning.
true. Yeah,
We had
that's
those
right.
horrendous
Yeah,
pictures of the
yeah.
koala bears trying to walk across the ground. And
Hmm.
it was startling and it was horrible. And it just seemed that the world was on an edge, on a tipping point, if you like. I've included nature into um, lots of things with my children to make sure they've got that really strong connection with nature and the environment, which is
Hmm.
really benefiting them. It benefits us, it obviously benefits nature. And I just wanted to help. So I felt a really strong calling in a way to do something.
Principally, you're a writer. Am I right in thinking that?
Principally, I guess so. Yes, I guess I am now as of 2019. Yeah, we
Yes.
produce children's illustrated picture storybooks with audio that tell
Yes.
a tale that can connect children with nature and to get children to know and to feel that they can help the nature that's in trouble today. That's
Hmm.
that's how we started.
And I understand that schools are now starting to order sets of these books as well. It's not individual books we're talking about here necessarily, is it?
No, no, not at all. Absolutely, they are. They're ordering 30 at a time for classes. So every child can sit in a class of 30 or more and sit down and read our material and read our resources.
Yeah.
Um, and lots of subsequent classes get enjoyment out of them as well, because sometimes that class will then pass it through to another class, which is a joy to us because what we want is our books in children's hands because from our
Absolutely.
feedback we know it's making a difference.
Hmm.
It's making children more aware of nature, which is our whole goal and our objective, that they're connecting with nature, and we're part of that process, which is really exciting. Um, and also, it's just thrilling to know that children are understanding what they need to do to look after the nature that's in trouble, and they can play their part because there's such a big part to
Absolutely.
play.
Yeah. So talking about process, let's get to the process of looking at the website. Could you share the website with us, please?
Of course, no
Thank
problem.
you. Right. Okay. So there's the website, and it's the link you can see in the grey box anyway, but I'll put it down below and in the description. Perhaps could we click on Spike the
Sure,
Hedgehog for a
no problem. Spike the Hedgehog was our second storybook that we produced. I probably wrote Spike, I think, back in 2019, because I kind of had a bit of yeah, there was so much to write about because
Yes.
so many animals are in trouble right now. Obviously, the bee came first because Phoebe's the most important living species on the planet. So the bee had to come first to inform children how important bees are. But then
Yes.
second was Spike because Spike is the nation's favourite mammal. And as you probably know, hedgehogs are
True.
in real decline across our country.
Yes.
So much so they're on the red list to extinction.
Yeah.
But again, there's lots we can do to help a hedgehog. and they need to be there. They're a wild animal in our garden, and it brings so much joy to children to know what they need to do to look after a hedgehog if they're lucky enough to actually see a hedgehog
Well,
in their garden, a green space.
this is absolutely true. So let's you can actually you can see on the screen that you can play 30 odd seconds of it.
Yeah,
So let's watch that now.
this is just audio. This isn't this. I mean, this will still run through, so it's just the audio. So okay, let's play the audio.
Welcome to Tales from Mother Earth. I'd like to introduce you to a little hedgehog called Spike.
I suspect that there are resources to go with Spike the Hedgehog. Am I
There
right?
are indeed, yes. In the book itself, because our storybooks are storybooks with audio. In the book itself, you have a colouring in picture, you have a fun facts page all about hedgehogs.
Yeah.
You have a quiz as well, all about hedgehogs. And I believe once a child has got to the quiz and can actually complete the crossword, knowing those words, then the message of how to look after hedgehogs is really registered. But it's a journey to go through from opening the book right the way to the end. And then also the audio that we include on a QR code now in our books. When we actually started, we had CDs in the books, but now we have QR codes.
Yeah,
Um,
of
the
course.
first track is the full narrated story by either Mother Earth or the characters of the book with our music. The second track is actually a read-along version. So you've got the sound turning page markers, which is a little bell that we use in all our books. So
Sitka spruce, the amazing timber tree. Read along. When you hear this noise, turn the page. This is a story.
child can actually learn to read with our books and know when to turn the page. Then we have in Spike's book, we have the Spike's theme, which is a piece of music that Chris, our composer, has put together. That's a beautiful piece of music that backs the whole story. And then we have a piece of music as number 4 track, which is called Mother Earth's theme, which is a piece of music that really is a relaxing lullaby for children. And I like to think that if the children are listening to our stories into the evening, for instance, and they're concerned, then they hear that piece of music and they can relax, they can feel positive, they can sleep soundly. So that's why we had that piece of music at the end of all our as track 4 on all our audio pieces.
And hopefully perhaps encourage the children to go to sleep. Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
lovely. Now I noticed on the website, if we can
Go back to
go
home
back to the
page.
main website again, that would be good. It says there shop. So why don't we go to shop and
Sure.
see?
Our website really caters for the domestic market where people would like to buy one or two books.
Appreciate it.
Any people out there would like to purchase further books, then please come through to myself, and I will manage that dispatch and quotes and everything directly, depending on the quantity of books you're looking to purchase.
Ah, right. Well, that answers my next question in terms of whether you have effectively a bulk buy system for these books as well. So they've got 30. So contact the site directly if you're bulk buying.
Yes, contact me directly. Absolutely fine, no problem.
That's great. Good. Is there any other book you wanted to particularly highlight out of those lovely looking books?
You can see we've even put one into Welsh because we had a big
Yes, I
demand
saw
on
that.
Sitka spruce, the amazing timber tree. It was a commission really with Morgan Sindel, but there was a demand for the timber industry and the construction industry. They wanted it in Welsh, and it went out to every primary school in Wales
Good
a
Lord.
couple of years ago.
So that's Phoebe the Bee there, that your very first one.
That's right,
Obviously to
absolutely.
do with pollination.
Yes. And teaching children how important bees are and what we can do to look after them. There's many things we can do to look after bees, and the simplest act really of planting a bee-friendly plant.
Yeah.
I mean, that gives so much life to bees, and if you can look after bees in your area, and if everybody did that, what a difference we could all make.
Okay. Darcy's Tale is a special sort of book, isn't it?
It is. That was a commission where I worked with the Environment Agency, DEFRA. It actually came about from a film by Aardman, the same people that created Wallace and
Right.
Gromit.
Yeah.
So, and also I worked with the Project Groundwater Greater Lincolnshire team, which has been fantastic. So yes, we produced Darcy's Tale, and literally from the film, we took the stills and put the book together, and we put a lot more into the book in terms of resources as well.
Yes.
Teaching children really all about the awareness of groundwater flooding, to be aware, to be prepared, to think about where it comes from, to understand it a little bit more, really. We don't want to scare children, but I think with the climate that's changing, with the amount of rainwater that's falling, groundwater flooding is a real and present danger, and we need to be aware of it.
Absolutely. I noticed in that final sentence of the first description, it says, and now you have the opportunity to own your very own Darcy cuddly toy and copy of the book. So
One
how
of
does that
these.
work?
Can you see? This
Oh,
is
no.
our Darcy's. And
Oh,
absolutely, it does indeed. What you need to do to win a Darcy, a cuddly toy, and a storybook, and we're doing this across the country,
yeah.
is down here you can see the groundwater flooding underneath this information.
Oh, yes.
You've got these colouring pictures here.
Aha.
What you
Yes.
need to do is you need to print out a colouring picture, colour it in, send it back to us, and I will put you on the dispatch list to receive a free book and a free cuddly toy. And we've had classes up and down the country in primary schools entering the whole classes artwork, and we've
Oh,
had great delight in sending out 30 or 35 books and cuddly toys at a time to classes and schools up and down the country. So that promotion is still ongoing. So yeah, please be quick. Fill in your colouring, send it out to your classes so they can colour in the Darcy's Tale images and send them back to us.
I was just thinking that you've got obviously Darcy is a mole.
Yes,
I was wondering where you're going to get onto otters because otters
yes.
have
Oh, wouldn't
started
that
to
be
be
amazing?
introduced. That
I
would
have
be,
thought about writing a book about otters actually, because
yeah.
that's another slightly misunderstood animal that probably needs our help. But the message with the otters is quite similar also, I think, to the message with Stanley the water vole, because it's about the pollution in our rivers,
Yes.
and how much we need to be aware of the fact that any litter that we drop invariably ends up in our rivers, our waterways, and out into the sea. It's an
Mm,
alien product, really, to the wild, and it really shouldn't be there. So
yes.
it's a case of cleaning that up completely.
So that's great.
Fantastic.
Education resources is also highlighted on your website.
Hmm.
That's an interesting one for me.
Well, this helped me in a way, because I was running around doing lots of workshops. I live in Ashford in Kent, and I
Yes.
was running around doing lots of workshops in the area that I could reach and reach out to.
Yeah.
But the demand became so great that I thought the workshops that I was producing actually online, it made a lot of sense. So people, organizations in educational settings can actually run our very own workshops
Yeah.
with our material. And I give them access to our workshops. And currently in the Tales from the Countryside series, we've got workshops for Phoebe the bee, Spike the hedgehog, Stanley the water vole, and I'm in the process of writing the workshop and the agenda and putting all the material together for Bandit the blue tit. So in due
Yeah.
course, you will have 4 workshops, which are probably about an hour each, but they can be cut down to whatever class group you're actually looking to work with. But there is so much information that comes from the book, that is instigated from the book, that can then feed through into a really interactive and engaging workshop that gets children really thinking, learning in the most positive frame, what they can do to help the environment and the wild.
That's a great idea, having workshop for children, because we hear so much about workshops for adults, but for children. And of course, it saves fuel. You're not traipsing
Yes.
all around the county. So for all those reasons, I think that's an excellent idea. And book now is what I would say to all the viewers. Is there anything else you wanted to mention about your wonderful scheme of promoting the environment and greater awareness for children?
I think really it's just the fact that like David Attenborough said to us back in 2019, he said, don't sit still, don't do nothing. There's so much we can do. There's so much outside our front door when it comes to nature, and nature needs our help right now, and we need to live in harmony with nature. So don't think of it as a them and us thing. Think of it as you need to include it into your back garden. So have a little wild area right at the back of your garden where you may let some stinging nettles grow, and you may put some logs down, and then for a child to actually explore that area, I mean, it will be a feast of nature, because there'll be so much going on there that it won't be in the clipped grass that that's in front of it, that's mowed all the time. It will be in that patch of wildness at the back of the garden where all the invertebrates will live, the hedgehogs can eat, the bees will be there on the wildflowers, and there will be a haven of wild that a child can actually explore and learn so much from. The thing is with nature, it doesn't stay in a neat and tidy environment. It wants to expand, it wants to grow. And we need to realize that, we can live in harmony with that.
Let's not forget ponds, a little ponds. Now, interestingly, I've read recently that if you've got a small pond and there's a hosepipe ban, you can still keep the pond full of water.
I believe so too, yes. The pond, I think, is the single most important thing you can add to your garden for wildlife.
I completely agree. So for that reason, don't forget about your ponds, and you never know, we might have Neddy the Newt next.
Maybe, you never know. You heard it here first. Who knows?
Jenny, what can I say? Thank you very much indeed for a most enjoyable romp through your website. And viewers, please look at the website, and please consider getting class books or individual books for your own child from this site. Thanks a lot, and goodbye for now.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Bye-bye.